Miami Commission meeting for September 25, 2025. We are going to resume our regular commission meeting. There were a few items that we didn't finish up.
And my apologies, Chair. The City Attorney will just make a brief statement that the attorney-client session is concluded.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. City Clerk. Madam Chair, the shade meeting in Fuller et al. Versus the City of Miami et al. At this time has concluded, and we're moving to the regular City Commission meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. The budget hearing will start as soon as we're finished with the City of Miami Commission meeting. Commissioner Cabela, did we finish with FR3? FR3 is the overnight anchoring limitations. Did we vote on that?
We deferred it to October 9th.
We deferred it. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, where are we at? What's the question?
Wait, hold on. He said we deferred it. I'm going. There's a discussion item 2, update on ordinance 14307, commercial property pilot, amnesty pilot program.
DI2.
DI2, is that yours?
No, I didn't pull it.
No, it's for discussion.
Oh, no, but I didn't pull it. I don't know who pulled it.
Okay, so we can move on.
No, it's literally a discussion item.
Yeah, but if no one put it in, we can move on.
No, somebody, whose discussion item is it?
On the agenda, it states Department of Building.
Well, then
Department of Building. Do
we
we
could
want,
no, we could wait for the next meeting.
Okay.
We got a lot of stuff now.
can I have a motion to defer
Motion to defer.
DI2?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
To the first meeting in October. Okay. SR2 was pulled for discussion.
Okay, let me,
Parking on homestead property.
I didn't pull it.
I did pull it, Chairwoman. I know that this is your item, but it's something that my neighbors have heard about and asked me to vote against because it allows folks to park vehicles on the grass in front of their homes, and my neighbors are not supportive.
Okay. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
The motion passes 4-1 with Commissioner Rosado voting no.
Thank you.
That was I'm sorry, that was.
It was SR2.
SR2.
SR2. Okay. RE11, purchase and sale agreement, Lopez Optical.
If we could defer this for the next meeting.
May I have a motion?
A motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
To what meeting?
The
Next meeting.
October 9th?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Well, okay, just for, what did we defer? Which item was that?
RE11.
RE11.
RE11, that's the property on Southwest 8th Street, 25,000 or so square feet for housing and commercial in the bottom for Miami 21.
Next item is RE15. Someone pulled?
Defer to the next meeting.
RE15. Okay. May I have a motion?
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Defer to October 9th. RE5, approve employment agreement, Inspector General.
I would like to ask that there would be a 5% reduction on the requested salary, particularly when there's an increase of 5% that we're going to include in the amount each year. As to the other items, while I had some hesitations, I had a good conversation with the applicant, and he made a good case for himself in explaining some of my concerns. And while we're not as large as the county, Broward County, some other places that he showed me, they're paying more for the Inspector General in these locations. But Miami is not as big either. So that's the point that I wanted to touch upon. I have some concerns in one other area, but I think we could bring that back if need be in the near future and deal with it. I don't want to get into, unless there's a lot more discussions or concerns, I don't want to get into too much more right now. This is a process that was very transparent. We had some of our top law enforcement agencies, whether state attorneys, whether others, that selected. I'm not about to second guess whom they selected from the people that they had as applicants. I only needed to address the package that was given, and that's the only area that I'd like to change.
Commissioner Pardo?
Yeah, my only concern here was that he could be terminated with a 4/5 vote of the commission.
Well, that's the one that I talked about before, Commissioner.
Yeah, but no, just let me finish this. And there really is no manner for him, like a layer between that 4/5. Obviously, if he's investigating all of us, and there are enough of us that are upset, he's in a precarious position. I'd rather see something like that go to an arbitration, and then if there's no cause, an arbiter finds that there is no cause, he's reinstated to his position.
Look,
so that 4/5 isn't the controlling.
Those, I think, are things that are certainly in the realm. I'm not going to shut the door to it at all, because I think there's good arguments could be made to it. We just have a heck of a meeting. We got to get through it. I got commitments that I hope we're done, because otherwise I'm going to be in big trouble, thinking that we're going to finish this earlier. If there's, smaller items like this that we could bring it back, you could bring it back next
Yeah, or
meeting
can it just
whatever.
be a friendly amendment now to the?
I just think that we need to think more on that one. Is it just that way that we do it, or not, or do we do it a stronger way?
I mean, I think it's important because it's all about the true independence of his position.
Well, that's true. But you know how hard it is to get a 4/5 vote?
Not when you're investigating everything.
Well, Emilio Gonzalez was here investigating commissioners like Manolo Reyes and others. And there was only a 3-2 vote to get rid of him. That's how hard it is to get a 4/5. Then on the other hand, you had a 6 months former police chief that there were 5 votes to get rid of him, but he only wanted to sit 3 Hispanics. So it could go either way in that, but this is going to get into a lot of discussion, a lot more than we really have time for today. I'd like to get him on board that he's higher, and then take this one, next month, and, do it. And I promise that I'll give it whatever time we need to.
So you're promising that we'll do it next month?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I just really want to get to the bottom line, because the most important thing that we have in today's agenda that we got to get done is our budget.
All right.
And there's a couple of things there that some of you might be happy, especially coming from me. But I'm looking at the whole city, not just one part, that I think I found the dollars to make the budget better that I want to deal with. And we really need to get that budget out of the way. In fact, the vast majority of people that are here are for the budget.
So let me understand, because I share your concerns. I brought that up with you yesterday, right? Isn't that funny? Because I said he should truly be independent, akin to like the Florida Supreme Court. They don't have to worry about voting party because they're appointed for life, and they can't be taken, removed, fired. So I had that same concern. So maybe it is better that we defer it so we could bake in some guardrails. And I don't know how you feel about this 5% reduction, so it's the will of the body, what you guys
So
want
look,
to do.
if you want to defer it at all for the next meeting,
I don't think we can- I
I
don't-
wanted to at least get him going.
I don't know if we can
but-
appoint without, we cannot. George is shaking his head before I can even get it out. We can't appoint him without approving his employment contract, correct? They're shaking their head. Can't
That's
appoint
Correct,
him.
per the
So
code.
we would have to either have to do it all right now or defer it for another meeting.
George, George, the code could also be changed in the future as
Right.
well.
The code is an ordinance, and so if
Correct.
there is a procedure for changing it. It would, of course, require 2 readings, but it could be
Well,
changed.
Tony, if you're willing to wait, what the chairwoman is saying is just to defer one more meeting and get it all right with plenty of time for you to be able to speak, express your opinion. And, you know, I've heard what Commissioner Pardo said, but we might possibly want to discuss one that's a little tighter in protection and independence on it also. So, you know, if you're saying to us, Mr. Attorney, that you got to do it all or none, then I guess it's best that we defer this for the next meeting, and let's make sure that we bring this up quickly so that we have enough time for this item, because this is a very important item for the city's future.
Do I have a motion to defer?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries to the October 10th,
October 9th.
9th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do let us know on the 5%, but I think right now that's the least of it here.
I think the most important thing is the independence of the office, more than even the pay.
Well, that's why I made that statement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
PH3, purchase and sale agreement of the Olympia Theater.
Madam Chair, I actually think we have RE12 was within the items there that we were
He
taking.
did tell me that. RE12, use property for public park, 50 Southwest 68th Street. Who pulled
Yeah.
that?
I pulled that for information purpose, and let me read this. I don't mind to help any district commissioner for additional parkland or monies for parks, but this resolution says, resolution of the Miami City Commission approving and authorizing the city manager to take any and all necessary budgetary and financial actions, including but not limited to necessary budgetary amendments to allow for the real property located at 50 Southwest 68th Avenue to be used for public park purpose. Now, is this a property that the city owns already or not?
It is. It's one that the city closed on a few months back.
Okay.
And so I'd like to
So,
use it.
Yeah, that's fine. So my only question is, and this is part of what we approved back during the financial crisis when I was mayor, and Commissioner Teal made the motion in the commission at the time. What is the cost that's going to involve getting it out? Because if he's got budgets in his office that he wants to allocate to it, I have no problem. But my concern is that it could be a high amount, he doesn't have the budgets, and we just approve forcing the manager even to make budgetary amendments.
Yeah, I think the initial intent of this property acquisition was for housing. His intent, I think, is to repurpose it for a public park.
That's fine.
So the idea is functionally some of the resources we used, obviously because it was being acquired for housing, are different pots of
Yeah,
money.
but
pools
you
of
don't,
money.
you don't have an amount of what it's going to cost to do whatever he envisions to do here in the park, right?
I don't know that we've established.
Okay, so the only thing that I would like to put as a friendly amendment, that all monies would come from designating park recreation monies from District 4.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
That's fine.
That's fine?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if not, we start making resolutions like this, and sooner or later, we're going to get in trouble doing it this way. So that's the only thing. Fine. All right,
May I
I'll
have
make
a
the motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
As amended, all in favor?
Aye.
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 And what else do we have?
PH3, purchase and sale agreement, Olympia Theater.
Which one?
Olympia Theater, PH3.
PH3.
That was pulled.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'd like to be a co-sponsor on that as well.
What was pulled? PH3?
PH3,
The Olympia Theater.
the Olympia Theater.
Okay.
And, I just want to say my reasoning behind this. I think that Tim Barquette made a very compelling case when he spoke about the Gusman litigation, when he spoke about the fact that Maurice Gusman donated this property to the city of Miami because the city of Miami was not capable of keeping up this property. Ultimately, they had to sue us to try to continue its upkeep. And over the years, RFPs have been made. Nobody's replied because they wanted the city to put a lot of money in it. And this is the first opportunity where we have a group that's willing to put up $50 million to completely renovate the Olympia Theater. Plans done by Rich Heisenbottle, who restored this building, restored the Freedom Tower, has restored some of the most precious buildings in our community. And those plans are already in permitting. So we have an opportunity with an educational use partner that has great credibility. We have community-driven cultural programming, and we have organizations involved like Miami-Dade College that have signed on to an agreement, Flagler Bid supporting it, the DDA, and many others who came here this morning to support. So I just think that we have this incredible opportunity. As the District 2 Commissioner, I just saw the saga of the Coconut Grove Playhouse play out, and I would not want to see this happen. I don't want to see us lose an opportunity. I don't want to see us suffer with the saying of, good, what is the perfection, or good is the
Perfect is the enemy of
perfect
the
is
good.
the enemy of good. Exactly. Perfect is the enemy of good. So I would hate that for this to be the case.
Would, Madam Chair, fellow commissioners, the facts are that not just the city of Miami was not good in running, doing the upkeep of the Gusman. Neither was the Off-Street Parking Authority. The bottom line is that Mr. Gusman, I know, had a great heart, but he was a great businessman too. And he knew that as beautiful as that theater was, it was a white elephant. You could not make money on it. And it was going to cost him and his heirs, if he left it with them, a bundle in the future to run it. They were going to have a deficit every year. And then the upkeep for a place like that was going to be substantial. Frankly, the more I look at a place like that, I become more and more convinced that these are the areas that government is just not capable of running like the private sector. There are things that the government can excel in. There are things that the government is just a disaster in. And this is one of those. It's not just that can we find the money to do the upgrading. Then you're going to be having a deficit every year, substantial. And it's not going to be that many years down the road either before you're back and having to pour more money in it. It's an old building, and old buildings like that have to be kept. And then what do we do with the rest of the space? It's always been a dilemma for the city. So, as much as I don't like to part with city property, this is one of those cases that the deal on the table is a good deal for the city, because while we're not making any money in the actual sale, we're going to save substantial monies, not only on refurbishing that whole building, but every year on a big deficit, a big hole that it's going to give us. But more so, we're still going to have the Olympia Theater available for our government purposes, for the public to use, slightly over half the year, where it's going to become available. So we're getting the best of both worlds. They're putting the money to upgrade the whole building, and we can still use, and we'll still have the Olympia Theater. Now there's a third component that's one that more than ever, I find it very appealing. And that's the component of having a charter school there. Downtown is growing by leaps and bounds in the areas around. We need more schools. The school board just is not keeping up with it. And charter schools are taking up the slack. And here we have a charter school that has proven that every charter school they touch is a home run out of the ballpark, where kids have high grades, kids are getting scholarships into so many different colleges, and this is going to open up the doors in a major way to many children into the future, particularly in a new area that we don't have too many schools teaching kids about radio and theater like this and so on. I wish that it was not so, but I have to be a realist. I have to be a realist and know that what's before us is a good deal for the city. We're dealing with serious people that have the dollars, and based upon what I said before, Mr. Manager, you're making sure that there is certain guarantees that those dollars will come in. And finally, if something unexpected would happen in the future, a Cat 5 comes in, earthquake, that, we shouldn't have any in Miami, but you never know the way this world is, and that building would be lost, or fire. And then somebody wants to come in and put another huge high-rise there. We're putting the guarantees that the city will receive a reasonable percentage of profits also into the future if that would happen. I think it's only fair. But right now, we're getting off our backs a huge amount of money, and we're still having the Olympia Theater for all kinds of community purpose or governmental purposes. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, I did have an amendment, and I believe the city clerk is aware. It simply takes out two words that say aim for. It says SLAM has agreed to an annual minimum budget of $750,000 to $1 million toward theater operations and cultural programming, including fundraising and in-kind support through educational amenities.
Thank you. Is there
I accept that.
Is there anyone here from SLAM? What I wanted to ask is, there was a very thoughtful public speaker that came up, and she says she has scripts, plays that she has written. Would the community be able to utilize this space? Is that part of the community benefits? Mm-hmm. I know we've negotiated community benefits, but I'd like to know if there is an opportunity for locals to have their work showcased at the Olympia Theater.
Yes, through the chair. Thank you. Yes, I remember her. She was standing here speaking about that. And one of the things that we've done is after several meetings with the community and with the public, we met, for example, with the Flagler Bid and the DDA, and they work with actual local filmmakers, local artists. And so one of the priorities is making sure that we are partnering with them. There was also a speaker from Filmgate here who supports those local artists. So yes, the answer is yes. Our goal is to make sure that it's not just about having those event spaces for, performers such as, maybe Sting or performers.
Marcelo.
Right, Marcelo, but also featuring local artists and community groups that may not have a chance or have the space or have the funding to do that. So there's one of the groups that we're working with do a lot of grants in the community for that, and that's been something that obviously we're passionate about, because that was really, it's about not just highlighting and putting Miami on the map, but making sure that our local community have access. So the answer to that is yes.
Well, that's wonderful, because I also have a youth program, Overtown Urgent Inc., and they do media stuff. They create documentaries, and it would be amazing if they could partner with the theater and get behind the camera scenes. So I just wanted to make sure.
And what we've done, again, we put a website and we've asked people to come reach out, and that's how we've made these connections. So if you have those contacts, if there's anyone out there, obviously after this meeting, if this goes through, the goal is to make those plans and be able to put that on our list of priorities for what the theater will support. But yes, I want to, highlight that, the goal here is, it's definitely to make sure that folks like that have an opportunity, because that is really what makes our city special. And so,
Thank you.
Chair, if I could have the speaker's name for the record.
Millie Sanchez, Slam Foundation.
Do I have a motion?
Actually, Madam Chair, I have a couple of things I want to get on the record, if that's okay. I have a DDA support resolution, which the clerk's office will distribute. And so they made a presentation to the board after the initial presentation that they had made a few months ago. I will tell you, after that first presentation, I was a no on this item, but I'm really glad that they agreed to the 3 public meetings, which were really well attended and teased out a lot of the questions and concerns that folks have. And so I feel much more comfortable with this deal than I did a few months ago. It's much more robust and beneficial to the city. I think I had to wrap my brain around the school use, right? Because the folks have said a number of times they'd love to see a boutique hotel and a restaurant, and I think that sounds wonderful. But the unsolicited proposal process in Florida is very, very, very well known, and nobody's moved forward to try to offer that kind of thing. After thinking about it for a bit, I actually think a school use is perhaps pretty ideal, and I'll tell you why. The school means that they're going to activate the building during the day, when normally a venue like that is basically dead, right? You wouldn't see folks there Monday through Friday during the daytime. So they're going to activate it at those hours. And then when the school shuts down, that's when we'd be having performances. So this is a venue that will now have activity probably 14 hours a day. And that's exactly the kind of thing you want in your downtown. There's something that I saw, everything that was requested by the DDA board made it into the agreement or the resolution. There's one thing that did not make it in, which is the downtown permit clinic, which is very popular. It has one of the retail fronts that's part of the Olympia, and I know that they want to take over that space, and they need to be able to separate that use from their use. And so I would like to request that they cover the relocation costs up to a fee that I think is pretty nominal of $20,000. And we've actually identified a ground floor location at one of the Miami-Dade College garages. It's available. They have said we could move the use there, and it's just a couple blocks away from the Olympia. And so this is something that downtown folks could use to pull their permits. In fact, tonight during the budget hearing, I'm going to be asking to try to make this something that's open 2 days a week, because it is so popular and so used in downtown.
What is it that you're actually requesting
That they cover the relocation costs, so we continue to have a downtown permit clinic. Right now it's in the Olympia, it's in one of the retail storefronts, and I know that they want to take over all of the storefronts, right? So there's another tenant who will also be moving away. They're going to use one or more of these for their radio station, et cetera. But we've had this discussion. It's something that didn't make it into the contract that I think that they're willing to do.
Yes, we are definitely willing to
All right.
allocate those costs.
So, hearing from no one else, Chair, I will make the motion with the amendment at hand.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I need to read something into the record.
Yeah, me too.
You want, you want to say something? No, that was for the vote. No, go.
No, I just want to say that we want to assure the public that, this has been at this for years. Nothing has been done. This is a win-win for everybody. And these are serious people. And if it doesn't happen and they don't do what they say they're going to do, we have a reverter clause. So, the public should feel safe that we're not giving this thing away. It's a responsible, corporate, good corporate people that are going to run this, I think, correctly. So I think it's a win-win. I just want to put that on record. We are not giving it away. There's a reverter clause if things don't happen the way the good gentleman and ladies said. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second for PH 3 as amended pursuant to a substitution memo dated September 24th, 2025. All in favor?
In addition to Commissioner Pardo and Commissioner Rosado's amendments.
In addition to Commissioner Pardo and Commissioner Rosado's amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Motion carries
Unanimously.
unanimously. CA5. Commissioner Pardo?
Sure, I'll start. I want to give a little bit of background. Obviously, Orange Barrel Media is a very strong organization with lots of lobbyists. I think I see 3 of them here. They have lobbyists in the federal government, in the state government, in the county government, and in our city government. A few years back, an ordinance was passed that allowed for mega signs. Now, to have an idea of what that means, the state of Florida has a maximum of 950 square feet. That's the biggest sign you can have in the whole state of Florida. This ordinance allowed them to be 1,800 square feet, which is bigger than my home. The state of Florida requires that they can only be 65 feet high. This ordinance allowed it to go to 100 feet high. And this has been the problem with that billboard, because while that ordinance was in place, the city of Miami issued a permit. Once the city of Miami issues a permit, it's done. We would suffer millions of dollars in damages because it's vested, it's a right. They have a right to have that sign operating. Problem, though, at the same time is that the city of Miami has a lease with the PAM. And under the lease with the PAM, they were in violation because they did not receive approval from the city of Miami for that same sign. So at that time, we directed the city, and through the city attorney's office, to go ahead and litigate, thinking that we would try to bring down the sign, and if we didn't have the support to bring down the sign, we would get the best deal possible for the city of Miami. About 86% of the downtown residents, when we did this poll back then, I think this is like 18 months ago, this is a long time already, about 86% of the downtown residents were against this. So this was kind of like a very clear mandate for us to go ahead and fight this fight. So in the interim, and this is my thinking, city attorney, correct me if I'm wrong, but my thinking is that was your charge, right?
That's correct. And we were going to file suit, but the PAM folks sued us first, but then we filed a counterclaim. So we got to court, and we've litigated the matter, and some of the speakers even mentioned things that are in our complaint.
So every few months, I would give a phone call, follow up, say, hey, how are we doing? What's going? Da, 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 da. And then you announced we would have a shade session.
That's right.
And then why were we having that? What was the purpose of the shade session?
So the purpose of the shade session was that the plaintiffs / counter defendants we had mediation basically with the parties, and they presented an offer of settlement. And it's our responsibility to the city.
To the city.
And it's our responsibility to present that settlement offer in good faith, and so that's what we did.
But the session that at least I attended, there was no outcome.
There was no outright resolution, correct?
There was no resolution. In fact, we didn't even know if we could settle.
Correct. There was no settlement at the end of that
Right.
shade meeting.
So after that session, this item, this settlement, pops up on this agenda, and basically, I'm told that 4 of my colleagues requested this settlement on this agenda, but if there was no agreement on any of the terms, like I just want to know what were the conversations, like how did people?
Well, so as I tried to explain in the briefing, that there's 2 ways to resolve litigation. One is we can have a shade meeting and all get in a room outside the sunshine law and discuss an item. But if a majority of city commissioners say, please place an item on the agenda to settle this, those are my clients, and if their desire is to resolve the litigation in an expeditious manner, then that's what we do. And so we brought that offer of settlement, placed it on the agenda, and that's how we ended up here today.
So I imagine a lobbyist, and I know there's a former District 2 commissioner, there's a lobbyist, different lobbyists went to different commissioners, and they requested these same terms.
Well, there's a lot of lobbyists on this issue, some for, some against, and I'm sure they have gone to each of your offices and tried to advocate either for settlement or opposition to the settlement.
But my point is, like, what did they say? Did they say, hey, we want the settlement, or did they give you the terms?
Well, the terms of the settlement are included in the resolution that was published on the agenda. So it's been published, it's there.
But is that what was requested by each of the different offices?
That was the settlement offer by the plaintiffs, and the notion was that let's put that settlement offer on the City Commission agenda to see if we get consensus to approve it.
Because, I mean, I know, especially Commissioner Gabella, you've mentioned that these one-on-ones are never good, but essentially I have not had the ability to make any case or represent, as the District 2 Commissioner, my residents with this being placed on an agenda and a bunch of one-on-one conversations. I mean, I don't know if a dollar amount is a good thing or if we should be getting a percentage of the revenue. I don't even know what the revenues are under this. I don't know if there are other modifications or if they should change the times during daylight savings time. There has been zero information communicated about any of this as far as any kind of variables or any kind of negotiation that we could possibly have. So it's very disappointing to me that the folks representing us kind of, don't provide any of this information, and instead it's kind of like, hey, here,
Right.
go deal with it on the dais. I don't think this is right. I don't think this is the way to go. I think that we just saw a very good example with the Olympia Theater of what can happen when we follow a community process and we involve the community and maybe even involve the PAM as a cultural institution. I'm a bit shocked that it's not more responsive to either the Frost or its residents and that people aren't more willing to come together on this. I would love to see us, and as the district commissioner, I wouldn't do this to any one of you. I think that I should have the deference to be able to hold community meetings and to be able to include residents and residents' input. And, I'm very, very disappointed at the way this has been handled because one-on-one, a lobbyist or someone talking to a commissioner, that commissioner calling you, me being left out of that whole process for each separate commissioner and not doing another shade meeting is the wrong call. We should have had the opportunity to meet face to face so that I could say this in front of my colleagues and make these arguments and then move forward. So I would like to request that we defer this to the second meeting in October to at least give us a month, 30 days to be able to do some work in the community.
Commissioner Cabela?
Okay, so first, you guys tell us not to talk about the shade meetings, but then you're kind of talking about the shade meetings. So let me know when I cross the line, because you know what I mean?
Right.
And we're talking about it, but we're not talking about it.
And just to be consistent, we should not discuss things that occurred in the shade
But
meeting
you
because of conflict.
you guys kind of were right now, but that's okay. So the way I remember it, here's the problem. You asked a question, and if I say what happened in the shade meeting, how am I going to explain? I remember being there, and I remember that there was a settlement brought to us, okay? you know, from my perspective, since I've been here, this has been, you know, an issue. And my issue is not whether, I don't have one side whether the sign stays up or comes down. You know, I'm not that. My problem has been that we gave these people a permit. We told them that they can build, you know, and in this instance, we happen to be the landlord, like you correctly say, of the PAM, and we also happen to be the same people that give out permits. So it's like saying to you, go ahead and build your house. Oh, but I'm sorry, I made a mistake after it's built. I'm sorry, I got to take that back. And you know, you spent $1 million or whatever you did to build your house and the effort, and now we're telling you, you know, and I say that with all due respect, Commissioner, and then we tell you, oh, we made a mistake. Sorry, you got to tear down, you know, your house. You know, and then I remember that through the months we made a motion here because we thought the courts were going to take care of it, right? Which you mentioned the other day that the courts are still involved. Now, from my perspective,
There's no rush to do this at all.
no, but let me get to where I'm going. So from my perspective, okay, if we end up on the wrong side of this is going to cost us millions. This reminds me of the Watkins Island fiasco years ago, where one commissioner, was successful in persuading the other commissioners to go along with it. We got sued, and I think we paid to the tune of $22 million. This is very similar to that because the problem is that we told them that they can build, and then we told them you can't build. Now, here's the other thing that I keep hearing that's interesting to me. We keep hearing that the state is going to come and, you know, and take it down or give them. Well, I don't see the state protecting their interests. You know, why doesn't the state come down if this is, you know, in fact the matter? And why don't they, you know, issue a violation and say you got to take the sign down? Because I keep hearing this, but I don't see the state taking, you know, defending their position. You know, I don't see that. So, you know, I'm confused, you know. And then the other thing is my fear is that we get to trial, okay, because we're not going to settle. We get to trial, then we're not going to get anything out of it. Right now, I believe we're close to $500,000 a year that they're going to give us with a 5% annual increase. Please, Wysong, if I make a mistake, you know, correct me. You know,
It's
so
just
far,
$500,000 per year. Now, there is a caveat that if the that's based on what's in the city code. If the city code amount, this is basically $80,000 over what they would have paid if they were a legal conforming sign. So in the event that the city code is changed to increase that amount, this amount that they pay us would increase with that change to the code.
okay, apart from the monies that they're offering now,
Yes,
okay, if we should make a settlement and this body would decide to go for it, right, we're also going to be able to regulate them. If they went in court, we are not going to be able to regulate them. So I want to regulate them when they can turn the sign on and off. Okay, this provides that. And I want, you know, yes, I like that revenue that's coming to the city because I don't want to get into a lawsuit and I don't want to have the taxpayer foot the bill, you know, to what happened with the fiasco in Watson Island. You know, so as for me, I'll be voting for this, Commissioner, and I don't mean any disrespect with you. And I understand where you're coming from. But the problem here is that somebody got us into trouble because somebody told these people that they can build, and the people built, and now we're telling them, oh, sorry, we made a mistake. Well, you know, it ain't like that, people in the real world, you know. I don't think this is, you know, a good presence for even us that we issue a permit and the permit means nothing at the end of the day. You know, so for me, you know, I prefer to make a settlement where I am earning revenues for the city rather than paying them, the city, you know, the taxpayer footing the bill, and we get to regulate it. And I believe that that now they're off from 11 o'clock in the evening to 6 o'clock in the morning. But I believe somebody told me this, that maybe they're willing to go an extra hour off. You know, we get to regulate it. If we go all the way to the end, okay, and we lose this thing, we're going to be out millions of dollars. And you guys always keep telling me, you know, be careful with the lawsuits, you know, this and that. Well, I'm being careful with the lawsuits, you know, and so that's where I'm at, respectfully, and I respect you, sir. And
Yeah, but I mean, this is,
Commissioner Pardo, I think some other commissioners want to speak, so I want to.
One of your better speeches up here today is Commissioner Guevara.
Thank you, sir.
But you brought up something that caught my curiosity and my mind back to memory lane. What you were referring to was when Commissioner Russell insisted and push this commission to go along with him in a lawsuit against.
That is correct.
Yeah, against one of the leases we had in Watson Island, and it ended up costing $20 million to settle after the city lost, and close to maybe $10 million in attorney's fees. Now, in this particular case, there hasn't been many items in the last couple of years that has been discussed publicly up here as much as this item. The facts are that, for better or worse, the city of Miami signed off on every single permit that they needed. And while there's a claim that, well, we had a separate lease with the Paris Museum, that they couldn't do that, it appears that that's also not accurate in what was signed with the Paris Museum. But even if that's the case, the city should have known that and should have never then have signed off on all those permits. So either way, in the terrain that we're in now, the courts, our chances are tough in winning this. And here's what we will be facing. A tremendous amount of dollars that they're going to hit us with in losses, attorney's fees that I don't know how substantial
Seriously?
it would be, but they will be there. Yeah, seriously.
Hey.
You know, it's the difference when somebody sues you, you don't have the ability to say no, and they keep suing you time and time again for the same thing. It's a big difference when you have the ability to prevent lawsuits like this, which is what Commissioner Gavello was talking about. We go to court, we lose. On top of that, what I described, we're going to lose on $500,000 a year that we will be getting. Believe you me, the city of Miami needs every dollar that it can get. So those are the reasons that I would be voting in favor of this, because I don't see how the city of Miami is going to be in any better shape than accepting this today. The consequence, I think, would be dire if we don't accept it. Now, I know it's going to look great that we fought it, but at what price? So that it still stays up there and doesn't come down.
Commissioner Rosado?
Sure. I mean, I have to tell you, I absolutely hate this item, and the fact that this has dragged on and it's something that we're dealing with now. There's so many items like this. I don't think the sign should have been put up in the first place, but once we permitted it, everything changed as far as I'm concerned. I would like to support Commissioner Pardo's request to defer it. I don't think we need to defer it a month. I think this is such a widely known item. I would be perfectly comfortable supporting a deferral for one meeting, because I think it's possible to have public engagement next week. On the Olympia item, we were able to turn around and have very robust public engagement very quickly because people are paying a lot of attention. That's what I would support on this item. I think we could perhaps look at the payment amount. I think perhaps there may be some wiggle room to be considered there. I think there should be a 5% annual increase. I don't think it should be contingent on any other regulatory changes. I think we should look at how sunup affects, the sunrise affects the lighting, so that it should run with that, so that it's not up before the sun is up. It's not a dramatic change, but I think it's something that will make a difference. And I think very explicitly that the funds generated by this, every single dollar should not be swept into the general fund. Those dollars, I think, should be kept downtown for the benefit of downtowners and downtown issues.
So from my perspective, this is a bad deal for the city of Miami, and this is a gift to Pam. We are talking about dollar amounts. We're not even talking about percentages over time. We don't know what the revenues are. We haven't even involved the community to know what's important to the community. We don't know if what's important to them is the illumination or the hours of operation or anything else. We have not involved them in any kind of negotiation. In fact, we have not been involved in any negotiation. These terms have been here. That's your settlement. And that is not what we should be doing. We shouldn't be picking winners and losers in this case. We should be trying to call people to unity, call people to heal on this issue, and try to figure out a middle road. I am sure that there is a place where we can get people to agree. Now, you say one meeting. We're the ones who did the forums for the Olympia. That's not something you can do in a week or 2 weeks. I'm asking for 30 days, thinking that's us working really hard and trying to get to a middle ground with cultural organizations and with residents that have been fighting this for 18 months. So all I'm asking for is that. As the district commissioner, this is in my district, the person who wasn't even included in this settlement that came before you.
So, I too dislike this item. It has been going on forever, and it also reminds me of the exercise equipment in the park. My issue is that I'm not sure how you didn't get briefed, because I got briefed. And a lot of the concessions that are in this agreement, this settlement agreement, are the concessions that I brought up. Turning the sign off at a certain time, the illumination not being so bright. Those were my ideas. I was the one that was advocating for compromise all along, but there was no compromise. And now that here we are in this situation and there's a settlement, now you want to take it to the community, because I've known about this for a while. I don't know. I didn't say put this on the agenda, but I've known about it. We talked about it. We agreed to it. We agreed to something, because
No, we didn't agree to this.
We're not supposed to. I mean, they just can't come up with an agreement without briefing us. So, George, you did brief us on this agreement, the terms of this agreement.
Yes, Madam Chair, we
Okay,
briefed each
because
other.
I just want to make sure I'm not crazy. However, it is your district, and I think if there's anyone up here, I'm for having meetings in the community. I would be willing one meeting. I would be willing to give you one meeting, but not 30 days. It shouldn't drag out, and because I'm in favor of the settlement. Let me just say that. I am in favor of the settlement. But I don't want to take away your right to take it to the community and have. So I will give you, if I'm not willing to do 30 days, but I will give you till the next meeting to present this to your community, because it's your community.
Well, I'm appreciative of any time I can get. Obviously, I don't agree that it should be that short, but I'm appreciative and grateful. I will say that so that means that if we come back and we have amendments to this somehow, if, for example, their main point isn't that they need X amount of dollars, they would rather see us do something different. Can we still incorporate any of that feedback into?
So wait, okay, first, George, is there a time sensitivity here that we have to do it today?
The only time sensitivity is you saw one of the council get up here and said it's now or never, this is our final offer and it's rescinded. I don't know if they're willing to come up and say they'd give the commissioner a meeting to.
So that would be a game changer for now or never, because I don't want to, this has been dragging on. If it's a now or never issue, it's got to be now, because.
Can I just weigh in for one
Sure.
minute? So in light, and I'm like you, I am ready to go, I'm ready to vote on this and put it to bed. Now, if I can count, and you need 3 votes. So are you saying that you're willing to entertain it? Then I would caution you from Orange Barrel, that you don't have the votes up here right now the way you're leaning.
I
right?
don't
So
know
I would,
if that's the case or not, Commissioner Gavella. I think that if
Well,
this
If
comes
this
to
is
a,
a now or
if
never
this
deal,
comes to a
because-
but
head,
that's what I'm cautioning about it. This is a now or never, consider, that.
and look, we all have been here for a while, and we know how things are done. This is to buy time. This is one of the issues that has been discussed back and forth the most, and most people in the public that feel affected have been able to participate. And we all know that's true.
I agree.
Ms.
So
Chairwoman.
what I'm saying is
let her
that
answer the question, Commissioner. Let her answer the question.
Thank you, Ms. Chairwoman. My name is Janaea Reed. I'm counsel on behalf of Perez Art Museum, Miami. And as I stated earlier during the public comment period, today is the time. Again, as I mentioned previously, this issue has been talked about more than 8 times in the public in terms of the sign. All of the issues that were brought up right now just before you in terms of there being vested rights, in terms of none of that is going to change in terms of the community's input. There are vested rights that are at issue here. The permits were issued. None of that is going to change based on the information that you get from the community. Now, again, our position is it is today, it needs to be today, and if we're pushed to a different forum, that the settlement offer will expire.
Well, that does change things because
So-
I do want to, I will vote for it because in our community, we have a saying, am better than nam. You got to know what I'm saying. Something is better than nothing. I'm not willing to roll the dice, like you said, and this has, again, I was in favor of compromise from day one. And everybody was, no, it has to come down, it has to come down. And I knew it would come to this because that's how things are. It's compromise. Everybody's not going to be happy, but we can't just go on with the litigation. Commissioner Pardo?
Yeah. Okay. So this is not about the permit. This is about the lease and our litigation under the lease. George, when I asked you about this, City Attorney, when I asked you about this, you said there was no rush, that we were in process. And what else is she going to say? Of course she's going to say now is the time. This is our final offer. This is part of the negotiation that we're living right now.
No, but she can say that. They can say no,
Right, but-
and go to
Yeah,
carry us into court.
So we're not set for trial yet. We have each filed a motions for summary judgment, but the case was stayed pursuant to the settlement negotiations. But
So the case has stayed.
Only for the settlement. If we don't settle, they pull the settlement. We don't agree to settle. We're going to court, and we don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Is there any flexibility, City Attorney, to be able to work around this so that we can have community input? Because people keep saying, wow, people have been coming up here and giving public comment. But when you come here and you give a public comment, you are not negotiating. You are not being given the information so that you can make a wise decision for your own interests. And what we are doing here is we're siding with moneyed interests versus our residents. And that's exactly what we should never do. And for a little more time, we might be able to get to a much better place.
Right, understood. And the issue with litigation and with settlements is the primary motivation for settling is the uncertainty of the result. You have no idea what's going to happen. And so they say, for example, that today is the day. They may relent, but they may not relent. And they may say, we gave you had a mediation, you didn't resolve it, came to City Commission, you didn't resolve it, we're done. That's up to them. We can't control that. We're willing to, do what we can to get the best deal for the city, but I can't control what.
And
plaintiff
what is
does.
your professional assessment of this case? What is our downside?
Well, the downside is, as they've expressed, is that if the city were to lose, and just as you say, the issue at hand is the contract required consent from the city manager. Consent was never obtained from the city manager. So we then filed a claim saying that they were in breach of the contract because they did not get the consent. The question, one of the uncertainties of litigation is how significant of an event that will be. Will the court find that that's a reason to hold them in breach and throw them out of their lease? We don't know. And so worst case scenario, as they've indicated, is that they would turn the sign back on 24/7, because a lot of their monetary predictions, I believe, at the beginning, and some of the numbers that we've heard today about what they're garnering from the sign were based on, I think, a 24-hour operational model. They've shut it down during this pendency at 11 p.m. until 6 a.m., and so having the amount of opportunity that they have to generate money from the sign. So there's a potential that that could go away. There's a potential that I think that if there's another element of the settlement is that they've agreed to reduce the number of lumens in the sign. I don't see them turning it back up to, outrageous levels because, I could see someone else filing a suit for nuisance or something like that. But the main, and also the revenues, they've come to the table with $80,000 above what they would normally have to pay. And so we could lose that opportunity for additional enhanced revenue. So those are sort of what's at play here.
So we're not talking about millions of dollars of damages or...
Well, no. Once again, the uncertainty is we believe it's fairly certain that there are no attorney's fees claims in this case at this point. There's also no damage claim at this point. It's a declaratory judgment action. But that doesn't foreclose them from filing some additional action or something like that, saying that we unreasonably didn't resolve this or something. Who knows? That's another uncertainty of litigation.
And so obviously we're giving up the ability to have won or have had a ruling in our favor, and we're releasing them of all claims.
Right. In our best day, we would get the court to conclude that the consent should have been provided, it wasn't, and that they are in breach of the agreement, and then we would then move to terminate the lease and, take over the property. And at that point, something else might happen. But that's in our best day.
Did we ever get an appraisal?
I'm sorry?
Did we get an appraisal or anything?
Well, there's appraisal for the property or
Or
there's no appraisal for that.
Can I ask you a question, George? So you said that they had upped the ante from 400 something to close to 5, right?
To 500.
And I
yes,
think
sir.
it was, so it was 70 more, right?
It's 80 more.
80, okay, do the math, gentlemen.
That's
Take $80,000 and divide it into, what was it before?
I think it's 420.
420, divided into 420.
18%.
It's a 19% increase. So it's a substantial increase from what they were, proposing.
But if we were putting a percentage, we would get a percentage of their revenue, and as their revenue grows, our take grows.
What I'm afraid of happening here is that it's not like this is the first time that we discuss this. You discussed this many times. I repeat, this is one of the first big items that we discussed when you and
Not
I,
as a settlement.
No, not as a settlement, but as as what it was. But here's the point. Every time I heard you guys, there was no compromise. You just wanted the sign down. And what we got to understand here is the sign, if we don't want to get sued, and we don't, I, for one, I repeat, I have a fiduciary duty to the taxpayer, to my district, to my district, that money for no good reason goes out rather than spending it on roads, schools, and other stuff. So the point that I'm trying to make is, if you guys are doing this because you want to succeed somehow to tear down the sign, I don't think that's going to happen.
No,
that's not a reality right now, and that's what I'm trying to say.
Get a better deal.
What more better of a deal? Well, let's
I just
negotiate
said
right
this.
now.
Get a percentage.
All right, let's negotiate right now.
Okay.
Are you in the position to negotiate right now?
Let's do it.
I am not in a position to negotiate because the deal that we have offered is the deal that we have offered.
Right.
As Commission, the Chairwoman King has stated, many of the provisions that are in here are things that were specifically asked for. These are things that have significant revenue loss with respect to Pam in terms of not being able to turn the sign on from 11 p.m. until 6 a.m. That's significant revenue loss. We're already losing revenue with respect to that. And that's something that has been considered in terms of how we addressed and how we came to the table with respect to the negotiations. So to suggest somehow that now there's a different deal that needs to be had or any of those types of things, there is no ability to have that. Additionally, I'm not really clear on where the city thinks that they would have a basis for having the percent with respect to the revenue. There's no basis with respect to that. There's no basis to be able to achieve that type of result. And as it has been stated, the sign is here. The sign is here. It was permitted by the city. It was allowed by the city. We've followed all of the specific procedures that needed to go forward in terms of having the sign available and having it up. And so to now suggest somehow that, you know, the settlement terms or they need to be looked at again or they need to be renegotiated, we've come here in good faith. We've come to mediation in good faith. And so to have this continue to drag on and to suggest somehow that my client should defer this to another time period when the negotiations have been long-standing is just unreasonable.
Well, Chair, bottom line is that I've heard Commissioner Pardo say that he's doing this to do a better deal, negotiate more. So he's basically has agreed that they do have vested rights. And that's the whole point, that they're given $500,000 after they've cut 7 hours out of the 24 hours in the day when they made their original deal with the museum. That's revenue that they have lost. And on top of that, we're going to get $500,000. Now, keep this in mind. If this is the deal, that it was directly with the city, no middleman. But there is a middleman. The middleman is the Paris Museum. And after they cut a deal there that the Paris Museum, I'm sure it was very tough on, they are willing to give us $500,000 after even taking out 7 out of the 24 hours that they could sell. So there ain't much more meat in the bone here to get. I would just like to ask you one question, because normally I would ask no less than 3% increases, which is what I think we have established in Bayfront Park, so that people could know what their increases are per year. But this is a deal that I know is to the bone because of what the Paris Museum did with you. This is a deal after you did a deal already. So we're getting monies from you after you had done a deal with the Paris Museum that was supposed to be their monies, your monies, and that was it. Now, you got a third partner into the deal. And can you go at least 2% more increase, which I think would be a fair amount per year?
Just to be clear, what are you asking? You're asking for a
2%
2% escalator?
2% escalator each year on the $500,000 that you've offered.
I do not currently have authority for that, but I can confer with my client very quickly to identify, is that an offer that you are presenting
Yes,
to
so
be
that,
able to...
so that I could bring this to a head and have a vote.
and again, would that be with respect to this being resolved today?
Excuse me?
Would that be with respect to resolving this today?
Yes.
Okay. Let me,
So we're negotiating now.
I am not authorized to negotiate, which was what I stated at the beginning, but I can take, if you have an offer, that I am obligated to take it to my client.
This is a small percentage that will increase throughout the years. And I'm
Well, why not
trying to-
5? Why not
5 is what I mentioned before. 5 is where I think we should land. The value of 500,000 depreciates year after year in terms of what it buys us. From our side, I'd like to reiterate, I would like these dollars to stay exclusively for the benefit of downtown and Overtown. I think something that would benefit folks in that vicinity is the underdeck, which we've lost our grant for, unfortunately. I'd like to see every single penny be dedicated to that project, which benefits people that are in the proximity of the sign.
So now what you're saying is that the money is going to go
Specifically the
Listen,
underdeck / Graham Greenway project.
You changed this so many times already.
That's on our end.
Yeah.
That doesn't affect.
We should include the
costs.
residents.
That's
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to suggest, and this body could do as it please, but I think it's coming to the wire on what we need to
Can
do
you
here.
go and see if you can get the 2% COLA?
Yeah, well, she's
I will
going.
Ask your client.
I will ask.
Well, she's going. I'd like to talk about where I'd like for this money to go, and this is something that I brought up at the last fiscal budget hearing for us to look for this one, Chairwoman, and you express strong support for it. I think when you hear this, you will be even more supportive, like all of us. This is from the Federal U.S. Education Department, from the federal government. 12th grade math and reading scores in U.S. hit new low. American high school seniors' scores in major math and reading tests fell to their lowest level on record, according to results released this past Tuesday by the U.S. Education Department. 12th graders' average math scores was the worst since the current test began in 2005. That's in math. And reading was below any point since the assessment started in 1992. The share of 12th graders who were proficient slipped by 2% between 2019 and 2024 to only having 35% of our 12th graders nationally proficient in reading and 22 in math. And I submit to you that as a country, that as a city, we're not going to be able to compete in this globalized world with these grades if we don't help our future, our kids in school. So I will propose that this $500,000 that we're getting in increases per year, along with some other monies that I found, and I would put $1 million from my own district budget into it, would go to the establishment of a tutoring program from elementary school to high school, so that every child, every student that needs help for their homework, schoolwork, that we could provide a teacher that can tutor them at least twice a week, maybe more if we raise some money and they need it. And that teacher could also be a mentor, a life mentor for them. We all know here that we have many, many families in our city. Father and mother work across the board. They don't have the time, even if they wanted to help the kids with their schoolwork. How many single mother homes do we have? And the single mother works late. The grandmother is the parents of today. With the advancement in math and in science, etc., they don't know how to help their kids in many cases. So we need, as a city, to invest in our future. Otherwise, our future is not going to be pretty if we don't make sure that our kids can graduate with good grades, can go to colleges around our country with scholarships, and including many of our top athletes, where they fall sometimes is that they can't qualify for the school they want to go to because of the educational component. If we do this, this is the greatest accomplishment that we can do for our city's future investing in our youth. And this is where I would suggest this money goes to. It will cover Overtown, downtown, and the rest of the money, if you want, that we bring in can cover the rest of the city. And I think this is only the beginning. We have to find more funding for this into the future. And I have asked the manager to speak to the Kiwanis of Little Havana that have been very invested in this, for them to be part of it, together with Alonzo Mourning and what was established in the community center with him in Overtown back when I was mayor. And they could lead this, bring teachers from school board, from charter schools, so that our kids can have the tools that they need to succeed.
Okay, she was,
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I could add something while she's
Yeah.
conversing with her colleagues.
wait, because she's coming right back, and I want to know the answer to the question.
So the answer to the question of the 2% escalator that was offered is that we would accept that as a amendment or change to the settlement terms, with all of the other terms being the same.
Okay,
And
and
I will make the motion.
One more thing. I'd like the hours to change from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m.
That part would, again, what is the basis for us to change it to
Because
7 a.m.?
by 7, whether it's daylight savings time or not, by 7 a.m. the sun has come up. Everybody doesn't wake up at 6 in the morning, but the sun is up. So the concerns that the residents have, it's still dark at 6 a.m. depending on the time of the year.
I don't know, Chair, if this might be a bridge too far,
Let me
because every
see.
hour that they take out,
I understand.
it's a lot of revenue they lose.
We are authorized to accept a 7 a.m. change, so from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Would be agreed to by Pam.
Okay. Have a motion?
You have a motion.
Mr. City Clerk?
In addition to Commissioner Correa's amendment, in addition to Commissioner King's amendment, there's one other amendment that needs to be made, and that's to change demands pending a dismissals with prejudice to demands pending and dismissals with prejudice.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Who's the seconder?
And
Commissioner Cabello?
in the amendments that I had, there were two. The one on the 2% and the one on the money going to a fund.
No, let's,
No,
no, let's,
I don't agree with that at all.
no,
We didn't do
let's work that out at a different time.
Yeah.
Let's work that out at a different time.
Well, bottom line is, we have $500,000 more, Mr. Manager, for the budget this evening to work with.
Aren't the other boards on a percentage basis?
I don't
I don't
know.
know what
Wait,
you're talking
wait,
about.
I'm in the middle of a vote. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 It sounds unanimous as amended.
No.
No,
I'm a
4-1.
no. I'm a no. Yeah.
4-1 with Commissioner Pardo voting no.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Commissioner.
And that concludes the commission meeting for September 25th, 2025.
Is that everything on the agenda? Did I miss
That was
something
it.
else? That was it?
Actually, Madam Chair, our city clerk reminded me that for an item that was voted on earlier today, RE 16, I had provided him with a support resolution for Commissioner Gabella's manatee item related to the
Yeah.
That passed, right?
the water
Let it
taxes.
pass,
Just
yes.
he wanted me to go ahead and read in the record that we have a support resolution from the DDA.
Okay.
And that, we're good to go.
So now the meeting is, okay. The meeting has now adjourned. Thank you for your advocacy. Once the tape is flipped, we will begin our budget hearing. To wait for the tape. And I think we have someone that's here to pray for it. We are also going to begin this meeting with prayer. We have today Attorney Benita Jones Peabody, but she's also a pastor and my friend.
Hallelujah. It's such a privilege and an honor to be here with this commission tonight and to offer up prayer. I invite you to pray with me. Our Father, who art in heaven, Lord God, we come before your presence this evening and we thank you for the gift of life. We thank you, Lord God, for these who you have placed in this place. We ask that you would anoint their hands and that you would bless the work. We thank you, Lord God, for those who've let this building better than where they found it. We thank you for those that have cleaned it and made it beautiful, those that are pushing the paper and sharpening the pens. We thank you for them, Lord God, because we recognize that they could not do it without you. We ask, oh Lord God, that you would give them insight, that you would give them courage to do your bidding. Help them, O Lord God, to administer to the people, that every hurting heart would be healed, that in the limited resources, all needs will be met, that our elderly will be taken care of, that our babies will be nurtured and protected, and that those of us who carry the weight will have strength for the journey ahead. We give it all over to you tonight. We ask that you would take care of the homes so that these that are laboring here will not have any need of worry. We especially ask, oh Lord God, that you watch over our commissioner in our District 5, that you would protect her and that you would give her insight. Help her, Lord God, as she leads. You know what she stands in need of. Supply it according to your riches and glory. And for this we'll be ever grateful. We thank you. It's in Jesus' name that we're praying tonight. Amen. Amen and amen.
Well, if everyone could stand, please, and we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. City Attorney,
Yes, Madam Chair.
would you please read your statement for the record?
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you. George Wysong, City Attorney, City of Miami. Statement of the City Attorney. This evening, the City of Miami is holding its second and final budget meeting and the related second and final budget public hearing for the purposes of fixing the city's final millage rate, adopting the city's final budget, and approving various agency budgets for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025 and ending September 30th, 2025. This hearing was set pursuant to resolution number R250304, adopted on July 24, 2025, and in compliance with Chapter 200 and Section 166.241 Florida statutes and all other applicable codes, rules, and regulations. Detailed information about the processes, order of business, rules of procedure, and scheduling or rescheduling of City Commission meetings can be found in Chapter 2, Article 2 of the City Code, a copy of which is available online at www.munico.com. Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code must register with the City Clerk and comply with related city requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the City Commission. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff member until registering. A copy of Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code entitled Lobbyists is available in the City Clerk's office or online at www.munico.com. Any person making a presentation, formal request, or petition to the City Commission concerning real property must make disclosures required by the City Code in writing. A copy of the City Code section is available at the office of the City Clerk or online at www.munico.com. The City of Miami requires that anyone requesting approval, relief, or other action from the City Commission must disclose before the public hearing any consideration provided or committed directly or on its behalf to anyone for an agreement to support or withhold objection to the requested approval, relief, or other action pursuant to City Code Section 2-8. Any documents offered to the City Commission that have not been provided at least 7 days before the meeting as part of the agenda materials will be entered into the record at the City Commission's discretion. In accordance with Section 2-33F and G of the City Code, the agenda and materials for each item on the agenda is available during business hours at the City Clerk's office and online 24 hours a day at www.miamigov.com. The meeting of the Miami City Commission is a limited public forum. Any person may be heard by the City Commission through the chair for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the City Commission unless modified by the chair. Public comment will begin at approximately 7:20 p.m. and remain open until public comment is closed by the chairperson. Any person making offensive remarks or who becomes unruly in the Commission chambers will be barred from further attending City Commission meetings and may be subject to arrest. No clapping, applauding, heckling, or verbal outbursts in support or opposition to a speaker or his or her remarks shall be permitted. No signs or placards shall be allowed in the Commission chambers. Persons exiting the Commission chambers should do so quietly. Members of the public wishing to address the body may also do so by submitting written comments via the online comment form. Please visit www.miamigov.com/meeting instructions for detailed instructions on how to provide public comment using the online public comment form. The comments submitted through the comment form have been and will be distributed to the elected officials and city administration throughout the day so that the elected officials may consider the comments prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to the elected officials and city administration up until the chairperson closes public comment. Public comment may also be provided here live at City Hall, located at 3500 Pan American Drive, Miami, Florida 33133, subject to any and all city rules as may be amended from time to time. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the City Commission takes action or on such proposition. When addressing the City Commission, the members of the public must first state their name, their address, and what item or items they are speaking on. Any person with a disability requiring assistance, auxiliary aids, and services for this meeting may notify the City Clerk. The City has provided different public comment methods to indicate, among other things, the public support, opposition, or neutrality on the items and topics to be discussed at the City Commission meeting in compliance with Section 286.0114(4)C Florida statutes. The public has been given the opportunity to provide public comment during the meeting and within reasonable proximity and time before the meeting. Please note, commissioners have generally been briefed by city staff and the city attorney on items on the agenda today. Anyone wishing a verbatim record of any item considered at this meeting may request it at the Office of Communications or view it online at www.miamigov.com/MiamiTV. Notwithstanding the foregoing, pursuant to Florida Statute Section 200.065(3) and 286.0105 and Florida Administrative Code Rule 12D-17.005(2)(C22), no verbatim record is required for the appeal of any decision made during public hearings required by Chapter 200. This meeting can be viewed live on Miami TV, the city's Facebook page, the city's X, formerly Twitter page, the city's YouTube channel, and Comcast Channel 77. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, are there any items on this agenda that you want to pull or defer, withdraw?
Madam Chair, City Commission, there are no items to be pulled or deferred as part of this budget hearing.
Thank you. I believe at this time our budget director will read a statement,
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Based on the millage reduction that we did in the last meeting, it went from 7.1364 for the operating millage to 7.1080. Based on the proposed millage rate, which was advertised on Sunday, the 21st, the proposed general operating millage rate is 7.1080 mils for the City of Miami for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2025 and ending September 30th, 2026. That operating millage rate is 7.67% higher than the state-defined rollback rate of 6.6015.
Thank you. And at this time, we are going to have a statement from our DDA Executive Director.
Good evening. My name is Christina Kresge, and I'm the CEO and Executive Director of the Miami Downtown Development Authority. The proposed tentative millage rate to fund the operations of the Miami DDA for fiscal year 2025-26 is 0.3900 mils. The Miami DDA's rollback rate is 0.4053 mils. The current proposed tentative millage rate is 3.7% less than the rollback rate. Thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, I'm going to open the floor for public comment. If you are here for this same organization, I will allow 2 persons from the organization to speak on behalf of the organization. So if there are multiple people from one organization, please designate 1 or 2 persons to speak. We're going to say the same thing. So public comment period is now open. If anyone.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vanessa Lejem, and I'm 10 years old. I represent Family Action Network Movement. FAM has helped families for 33 years. FAM has helped people with youth programs, house assistance, immigration support, health and wellness, and more. If you support FAM, it won't just help today. You will be helping people have a better tomorrow so kids can have a safe environment to live. Please support FAM. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening,
Good afternoon.
Madam Renita Holmes. You can check with the clerk's office
Wait.
because of security.
Madam
easement.
Holmes, let's have the next person.
Oh, the
It's
same organization?
It's the same organization.
Oh,
Yes.
by all means, I'll wait for 3 or 4 more speakers.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Janice Antulis, and I am 9 years old. I am a part of Family Action Network Movement. Please support FAM. The after-school programs helps with homework and reading. It will help kids like me get a good education and be a leader in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I want to say that I'm supporting FAM. FAM is in my district. FAM does wonderful work, so I want to set your mind at ease that I am going to support your organization. And if we can quickly get a picture, that would be great. You guys, indulge me. Let me run down and take a picture with them.
Not for all of them.
Come on.
That's a tough act to follow. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Thema Campbell, and I am the founder and CEO of Girl Power Rocks, a nonprofit dedicated to empowering girls in our community through education, mentoring, mentorship, mental health support, and creative expressions. We serve hundreds of girls across Miami, many of whom face serious challenges, poverty, violence, lack of access to safe spaces. But when they walk through our doors at Girl Power, they find something different. They find strength, they find sisterhood, and they find hope. With your support over the years, we've been able to provide life-changing programs in Liberty City, Overtown, and beyond. We've seen girls improve academically, grow emotionally, and develop into leaders, not just leaders of tomorrow, but leaders of today. Investing in girls is not charity. It is smart policy. It means lower crime, stronger families, and a more resilient Miami. As you consider this year's budget, I urge you to please continue to invest in Girl Power Rocks and organizations like ours and the rest of these beautiful people you see here in this room this evening. Because when you uplift girls, you uplift the entire community. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Chairwoman and Commissioners. Well, I was here this morning, I'm here tonight. Chaplain Stanley Young, Freedom Prison and Jail Ministry, that's located in the city of Miami, 500 Northwest 2nd Avenue. I've come back tonight to really invite each and every one of you to come alongside and Freedom Prison and Jail Ministry to see what we do, how we do, and why we do what we do. Last year, 2014, we trained, we encouraged, we have helped over 2,000 people that is in the city of Miami to help them get off the streets, get off drugs, help them, train them in different aspects of life to help them go on with their life away from crime. But I really came back out tonight to really open the doors to Freedom Prison and Jail Ministry for you to come. Staff come, volunteers come, whoever wants to come and see on the ground of what we actually do. We also pass out over, I say, 1,000 Narcans in the city of Miami with those who are on hard drugs, those who are looking to get off drugs, who may overdose on drugs, and in that respect. We also give out bus passes to help these individuals to get to jobs, to help them to get to hospitals, to help get to their mom's house, to help them to get around the city so they could not do anything that is illegal. I'm committed on what I do. I'm open to any scrutiny, any kind of thing that you would like to know about us. I thank you. God bless, and have a blessed day.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Madam.
Good evening, good evening.
I'm not used to being here.
Thank you,
at
Madam
this
Chair.
time.
It's all right, it's all right. I'm a little bit disappointed, and I really want you to work on the timing. You know, it takes a lot of time to come down. I'm getting that age, you know, when I come down for a hearing, that gotta say, so thank you for listening. I'm here to help raise your awareness on the lack of resources, funding, or programmatic initiative to address the disparate issue of domestic violence in Liberty City. Things don't have to always get reported, but yet they're witnessed. And witness account means that there's a constant reaction going on. I haven't heard any CBOs that particularly deal with specifically the issue of domestic violence and restraining orders, but housing makes a big difference for some of the women. I tell you that there are women that are returning from prison, mothers, they've done their time, some for protecting themselves. There are LGBTQ that have fought back. and their restraining orders and their vows require that they have sufficient housing. Here's the bottom line towards resolve. There are various properties that could be committed to provide homes for these women unless they return to prison. There are various places for us that we need to be where we can't be in the regular, that the trauma level is high. We have no one dealing with that. I'm not going to take much of your time, but you know I kind of base things on facts and I don't have the numbers right there. I'm asking you, those of us who take a special interest, no one should be beaten because of their sexuality. No one should discriminate in housing because of their sexuality. But there are children, and there are women with children, and some men that really are catching hell. I wish the police department was here to talk about it. They don't get many reports. But the question still remains that I don't get an answer to. Why is it so difficult for people to serve restraining orders with the City of Miami Police Department? Why are people telling women that that's for the county to do? And why is there no place to go, although we have VAWA grants and VAWA vouchers that are going out? If you're open to talking about some of these properties, there are those of us that, and may I close? I waited 2.5 hours. There's 3 more seconds, madam.
We got 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. And so as fairly as I thank you, but here's the challenge to you all. If you genuinely care, please come back and talk about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me just finish.
Thank you.
That's what we hear out there as victims and survivors. We don't have time, and so women die. Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello, my name is Elaine Black, the president of the Liberty City Trust, located at 4800 Northwest 12th Avenue. We want your support for our 2024-25 budget revision that allowed us to provide jobs to 170 young people this summer. We also would like to have your support for our budget for 2025-26. Our focus is housing and ensuring that residents can get and buy new infill housing. And because of our commissioner, wonderful things are happening as far as infill housing in our community, the rehabilitation of housing in our community, and ensuring that residents in our community are aware of rental properties available. The youth program has made a difference in reducing crime and providing young people additional training during the summer, job experience, as well as learning. This summer, we had an opportunity to do photo shots of the individuals who did participate, so that on their social media, they will now have a photograph that they can be proud of as they move forward. Resilience, I'm so happy we have not had a hurricane this year, but we did participate with the City of Miami's resilience program to ensure that heat sensors were put into the homes of many of our residents, and we will continue to work with them as we move forward and ensure that the Charles Hadley Park is a place where you can come and have heat sensitivity there. You can get water, a cooling spot for us here in the Liberty City area.
Thank
so
you.
Overall, thank you.
Thank you.
And have a wonderful day.
Good evening.
Good evening. Theophilus Williams, 1391 North 95th Street. Oftentimes we talk about budget situation. It should be out of 4 years, it should be some communication with the taxpayer like us to tell us how the money being spent, not come here every year to the county and other areas to say we're in a shortfall. Maybe we paying too much legal fees for people who don't taxpayer help paying their legal fee. We need to look into some of that. How many lawsuits? We need to look in. They're not telling us this. They're not telling us. But the problem is, it always be the little people get hit. But when we put y'all, it's politics over people. But when it comes to us, it's no answer. We have to pay the price for what y'all doing rather than come. Half of the time y'all do things, but we don't vote on it. Y'all don't come to us. to see how we feel. You got the CRA and all them billing. We still got homeless people. We need to look into all the CAR money going on, road improvement. And if you got the lowest tax in the history of the city of Miami, why we had a budget meeting? Why we had a budget meeting? And the leader is not him when we come here. These the people we vote for. It's too many people getting in the race. It's not going to benefit this city or this town. It's all about them. Be careful who you vote for because it's not about us. It's about them. It's a business now. The people suffering as us. See, everybody comes for votes. And promise is broken promise. And who can we trust? It's friends and buddies getting what they want. Politics over people.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Professor Sam Lattimore. I live at 937 Northwest 55 Street, Miami, 33127. That's been a residence for us since the 1950s. I'm here to support the resolution approving and adopting the budget of the Liberty City Community Revitalization Trust and master plan for fiscal year 2024 and 25-26. And the reason for that is that I've had an occasion to work with them on the board. I've lived in this town for a long time. I've had a number of occupations, and they have done more to impact, along with the assistance of the commissioner, in changing the lives of people who grew up here. I grew up here, and I'm pleased that they've done some wonderful things. The jobs program is awesome because we're taking young people who don't get an opportunity to work because they don't have the necessary language skills nor the educational skills. So I ask for your support for the budget and help us and assist us with the housing and rehabilitation programs that we have started. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Mercedes Rodriguez. I reside at 1510 Northwest 19th Avenue. Before anything, I want to thank the administration for all the hard work they've done putting together this budget throughout the last few months. One thing that we need to take a look at as session starts in Tallahassee with committee is to have a consideration to try to have a fire tassing district. One of the biggest needs that we have across the city is regarding our fire stations. And our fire equipment, they're old. We need to replace some of them. And we also need to increase the number of training classes. Also regarding the CERT program, which a lot of money has been invested into. And also we need to have a bigger pace in hiring fires and police officers as our city is growing in population. We are an international city and most of us have a call to make regarding fire. Not necessarily regarding a crime issue, which is excellent because our fire department is doing a great job. But from time to time, we do have a health issue. We do have accidents. Even our own firemen need additional training. So I would like to put that on the record in order for us to consider that maybe in mid-term, starting at the beginning of next year in January. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Wow. Good evening. Brenda Barancourt, 1436 West 6th Street. I want to just echo what Mercedes was saying about a fire station and the police stations. We want to understand that the budget needs to reflect what we're doing for the police and fire. I know we have a shortage, but we need to make sure we have what we need. For those who don't know, at least in my area, is a lot of gang activities. So a lot of drug is being moving to this end, and I'm trying to be more understanding about the way short in police. But we knock on doors and we talk to people. The only concern, number one concern, is drugs and crime. After that is how the streets are being taken care of, which is done. So we need to make sure that our residents are receiving what we need. And I'm saying as a property owner, to me it's very difficult to understand sometimes how the budget goes. And you guys are in charge of the budget, but at the same time, the budget, the way that you guys are distributing, need to show that you're actually doing something with the money of the city of Miami. Streets are not better. Sidewalks are not better. Well, I cannot say that of Commissioner King because I went over to Overtown and your streets are being clean as ever since I was there in Booker T many years back. So, but we have to see sidewalks, streets, police, and lighting. It's really important. And I know that most of you are trying to work on it, but the flooding issue as well. So please, I don't know how the budget is going to reflect that, but we need to work on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name's Laverne Holiday, and I am the special assistant to Laverne Spicer, who is the CEO and founder of Curly's House. We've been around almost 30 years, and I'm asking for your support, continued support. We feed over 5,000 people a week, and some of them line up at 7 o'clock in the morning in the rain and the sweltering heat to be served by 11 and until the food runs out. So we are asking for support in your 25-26 year budget, and if there's any left over in the 24-25, we're asking for your help in that as well. In addition, Chairwoman King, I'd like to thank you and your staff for the support you've done with us this year, and also the mayor. So thank you, and keep us in mind with the budget cut. We are suffering significantly with the budget cuts from the county. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Wendy Mendoza, and I live at 815 Northeast 70th. I'm not sure how this all works, but I'm here because of our stormwater infrastructure and our seawall. And I don't know how it all gets distributed, but I just wanted to make note that we're in desperate need. And I know that you've sent your people, and they're working on it, and they're wonderful, but I just want to make sure that they remember us in this budget. So thanks.
Thank you. Seeing no one else for public comment period is now closed. Gentlemen, BH1 and BH2 were taken care of when our budget director read her statement. That was BH1. And when the DDA executive director read her statement, that is BH2. So we have remaining BH3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Are any of the remaining items you want to pull for discussion? Do you want to pull any of these items for discussion?
Yeah, I need to talk about the $9 million that has to do with you, Commissioner Padu, and the decision that we made here.
Which item is that?
I don't know if that's pertaining to BH10, city manager, or that would be the $9 million that we spoke about coming from the Bayfront Trust. That would be related to BH10, correct?
Yes, it would be BH10.
Okay.
So I would pull BH10.
So you want to pull BH10?
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Pardo, do you have any items that you want to pull?
No.
I know. I'm sorry.
No.
No. Okay. Commissioner Rosado, is there? No.
I don't have any to.
Commissioner.
I don't have any to pull, but I do want to add something to the budget.
Okay.
If I
So
may.
before you do that, may I have a motion?
Madam Chair, BH3 is an ordinance, so I just have to read
I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
not block voting it. I have
Which
to
one are we
agree.
doing?
I'm going to ask for a motion to pass BH4.
Motion?
Yeah, so moved.
BH3, I'm sorry, BH4 has to be voted on individually.
I'm going to do it
Oh,
individually.
okay. Understood.
May I have a motion for BH4?
Move.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. May I have a motion for BH5?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
BH5 passes unanimously. May I have a motion for BH6?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. May I have a motion for BH7?
Move.
Actually, I just needed some clarification on that one. The $1 million for homelessness, that wasn't, I know we had a few memos about the Bayfront Trust budget, but I didn't see that explicitly listed in there. I just want to make sure that
That's
that has
in a
been set
resolution
aside.
that we already passed. In
Yeah,
previous-
that,
Was
that
it
you guys
direction?
wanted, for
The
the
$1 million,
homeless to be.
right.
Right. I
Right.
think
It was
we-
a direction to the executive director
Right.
to include that in their fiscal year
Yes, so
25-26 budget.
That's taken care of.
Okay, just because it wasn't explicit in the budget, so there's no,
No, that was taken
I
care
know,
of.
as
no,
amended, Todd.
yeah.
That was in the last meeting.
Yeah, it was.
okay.
Yes. Okay, so may I have a motion for BH7 as amended?
Moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion for BH8?
Move. Second.
Chair, that
As
needs-
amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. May I have a motion for BH9?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carries unanimously. BH3 was pulled for discussion, and BH10. You want to take BH10 first or BH3?
Let's take BH3, if we could. Well, this for the Downtown Development Authority.
Oh, hold on 1 second.
No.
1 second.
That's BH2.
No, BH2 is just a statement that was
Yeah,
read by the...
BH3.
Hold on. It needs to be, the title needs to be read into the record.
Yes, Madam Chair. BH3 ordinance, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission with attachments relating to taxation, defining and designating the territorial limits for the city of Miami City, levying an ad valorem tax on all real and personal property in the city at a total final rate of 7.3616 mils on the dollar of the taxable value of such property for the purposes of funding the general operating budget and payment of debt service for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, and ending September 30th, 2026, containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date.
Someone had a question?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Manager, I have gone over the budget, and besides the $500,000 new dollars that we have now from the sign at Maurice Ferre Park, I found that there was a major miscalculation of monies that will be coming to this year's fiscal budget from the fee that fire rescue collects from insurance companies. This year, they've collected some $21 million. The year before, it was right below 10. When the new fire chief took over, he saw that there were some tremendous deficits that didn't make sense, and he immediately jumped into it and brought it up to over 21 million for this year. Now, being conservative, he doesn't feel that that could necessarily go as high, but he feels very comfortable it could go up to $18 million. In this proposed budget, you had allocated 12 million. I would respectfully suggest that we go the medium amount, not 12, not 18, go with 15 million on the budget, which will free up $3 additional million. And let me explain where I think this money should go. Looking at the whole city of Miami, like we should. Obviously, we all like to take care of our districts, but we're all commissioners of the whole city. One of the biggest areas with the biggest populations that has a major deficit in how long it takes to have an ambulance get to them is over by 37th Avenue our big, beautiful park that's there, all that area right across the street. 12 minutes to get, on the average, a fire rescue truck there. That's totally unacceptable for an area that large. And I suggest that out of that $3 million, we use $2 million to go there. That will get us 13 new paramedics, firefighters for that particular unit. And, you know, you need 3, but times 24, that's 3 shifts, so you need 9. And those 9s to 40 hours are done in 4 days out of the week. Then that's why you need 13 with the rest that cover the extra days and the off days also. $2 million I would propose. If you agree that we are correct, and I feel we're very conservatively correct, that $2 million additional dollars should go towards putting an extra fire rescue unit to begin with. In the future, we could see what we need. I feel pretty certain that in the near future, we're going to need also a fire truck, but that's for the next budget.
Vice Chair?
Yes.
I believe you're talking about BH10 because BH3 is only the millage.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm just talking overall to include for the budget.
Because we were on the BH3 part first, just to handle the millage. Okay.
But concerning the commissioner's rightly correct assessment of my area, I also would like to put into the record that we have a firehouse on 41st Avenue in Northwest 7th Street that we've been trying to get done. And I was wondering whether we can maybe work towards that end to kind of get started on that, on the shortfall that we have, Mr. Manager. Because that firehouse, I've toured it, and it's very old, very outdated, and they've already purchased land in the back to, I think you're familiar with what I'm...
Guys, if I can redirect us, if we can address the millage first, and then BH10 is exactly what you're talking about. So if I could have a motion.
Move on the
and
millage.
Second. Now, BH3 requires roll call. Mr. City Clerk?
Thank you, Chair. Roll call on agenda item BH3. Commissioner Pardo.
Approve.
Commissioner Gabello.
Yes.
Commissioner Rosado.
Yes.
Vice Chair Correa.
Yes.
Chair King.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, BH10, go ahead, Commissioner Gabello.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, the city manager was about to give me a response. He's talking to the fire chief now. Mr. City Manager?
What was the question?
The question is firehouse.
You want the firehouse question?
Yeah.
So the current plan is to come back to the commission with a overall capital plan specifically focused on both police and fire. So from a public safety perspective, you know, we've talked a lot about a public safety building, and we want to eventually wrap that plan both on the disposition of the existing footprint of the police headquarters and fire headquarters, and then the development of a new public safety building, which we are in very short order. I wanted to get through the budget to finalize this, come and brief each of you individually on the location recommendations.
Mr. Manager, is that coming to us in October?
Yes. Okay. And then worked into that is the current capital needs for existing fire stations, for any new stations we may need, right? And then also the upgrades to the existing police infrastructure, which is both the north and south central stations. So we're going to wrap all of that into a recommendation for a bond that would actually go towards funding the entire capital project. That particular project currently has, I think, a shortfall of what, $6 million?
7, 8, no,
more or less. I mean, the existing plan, but we've talked about value engineering that plan anyway. So it would wrap that particular fire station, and then we have a number of others that are in
pretty poor condition that need to be upgraded. We also have some that are just not the appropriate size for the area they service, and we need to add some more capacity there too. So all of that's going to get worked into one overarching.
Maybe, Mr. Manager, what you might want to do in the very near future is have a special meeting, a work meeting, so that we could dedicate it to public safety and what our needs are, both for police and fire, so that we know what is needed now and into the future. Do a 5-year plan of the needs of the city in public safety so that we can take action now rather than later when it hits us.
Excellent suggestion.
We have quite a major need, I think, both police and fire. But this one right now that I'm mentioning is, I think, the most critical out of all the areas. There's not that many. There's a few in the city that are deficient, but this is the biggest by far. It's got the largest population, biggest area, and 12 minutes to get a fire rescue ambulance there. That's unacceptable in our city, and particularly when we strive throughout the rest of the city to get it there in about 5 minutes or less. So,
Vice Chair?
This is where I would suggest that the $3 million that I've shown that's there, definitely there, conservatively, that we use $2 million for that. That would cover the bulk of it. And the additional $1 million that we use it for the program that I talked about before. Leave no kid behind, help each student succeed. And this would be citywide with $1 million from this general budget like this, putting in the other $500,000 that we just got, and I would put $1 million from my own district with $2.5 million. We could reach in excess of 750 kids, 28 weeks out of the year through the school year, for no less than 5 hours a week, 2 days a week in tutoring them. And I think that would go a long way, but it's not going to be enough for the future. So that's laying the foundation for this program into the future.
Vice Chair, could I ask a clarification? I missed the location that we were talking about for fire rescue.
The location that we're talking about is in Mel Reese. They call it the golf course of Freedom Park.
Yeah, what used to be the clubhouse.
Yeah, that's right across a huge area that goes all the way to 27th Avenue, correct, Commissioner Cabela?
Yeah, 37th Avenue, approximately northwest 17th Street, approximately.
Yeah, and that whole area takes 12 minutes or more to get an ambulance from our city there, when the rest of the city, for the most part, is about 5 minutes or so. So that's a red zone that we have to take care of now, and this will do it. Chief?
Thank you, Commissioner. Robert Evia, Director, Department of Fire Rescue. So to specifically answer your question, the Commissioner is correct. We have areas that we've identified both for fire suppression EMS. We conduct heat maps, and some areas that are 12 minutes because it's kind of like in a dead zone. You look geographically when these stations were built 50, 60 years ago, traffic is much different now. So it's not really distance, obviously, that has changed, but the density and traffic that's slowing our units down. If you've been to the station that Commissioner Gabella was speaking of, Station 10 on 41st Avenue and Northwest 7th Street, for the unit to pull out of the station is a mission. Sometimes there's a delay just getting out of the station to be able to turn. So the area that we're looking at for this Freedom Park would extend from 37th Avenue on the west side. It would be barriered by the river on the north side and go down to Northwest 7th Street, and then would move east all the way to around Northwest 21st Court. So it's a pretty large area, and it would cover all the areas that.
We're not even talking about into the future once that whole complex is built, with the mall, with hotels, with office building, and our own administration building.
We've counted
you definitely will need it then, but now you need it because you have a huge area of people that takes 12 minutes to get an ambulance or more.
Yes.
Chief, how does this overlap with the Beacom area that we discussed?
So this is going to benefit, this is what we're talking about here is what the commissioner is proposing is a rescue truck. So currently, because that area is so busy, it's being serviced by the fire station on 41st and Northwest 7th Street. So what inevitably happens is that the rescues get called, they're busy on calls, well then another call comes in. The biggest donor to that territory is the station on Beacon Boulevard, Northwest 7th Street, that is going into that territory nearly 500 times a year. And that's where you see delays, because it's coming from all the way from Beacon Boulevard all the way to 37th.
It's a longer trip.
So what happens then? Well, then the Beacon Boulevard area is now short of a truck, takes them longer to get back, and it's kind of a domino effect. So this one unit really benefits, although it's primarily in Commissioner Cabela's district, it does benefit all of these surrounding areas in District 4 and District 3, the residents, because their units will stay in longer in their territory.
In particular, the Beacon one, you would have your rescue there, not having to be so far away. And that's part of the things that we need to consider into the future. And this is why I'm asking Mr. Manager, with the police chief, with the fire chief, that we have a meeting especially for public safety needs into the future, because the city is growing so much, traffic is getting so horrendous that it takes longer, much longer to get from point A to point B now than ever before. Therefore, we're going to have to build more fire stations. We might even have to add a few more, mini substations in different areas.
Do I have a motion for BH10?
Motion.
There's a motion with the amendments that I've made with.
We're not at BH10.
There's a motion with the Commissioner
but
Guerrero.
BH10.
BH10, yes.
No, okay.
Yeah, I have some items also for BH10.
Oh,
The,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I thought, right?
With
I'm sorry.
the amendment that I made, that the manager would add $3 million that were overlooked that we will have for this next fiscal year's budget, and the $2 million will go for the fire rescue truck there, and $1 million will go for tutorings and helping each student succeed and leaving no student behind.
But is that part of BH10?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's,
so,
it would be if we agree.
all right, so I just want to say one thing, and then we can vote if you all are ready. So what I wanted to say is that there's a $9 million proposal, just so you know, because since it's not clear right now what we're doing with the Bayfront Trust. It was proposed to take $9 million out of the $22 million in reserve, okay, and use it for fire equipment, tentative next year. And what I said to the city manager was that, we were putting the cart before the horse, because first we should decide what it is that the park is going to become, and then take the $9 million. So I just want you to be aware, because I don't know, whatever we do with the park, it might affect you since it's in your district, and so all you ladies and gentlemen are, aware what's going on. So what was agreed on is that it's tentative there. It's not going to be touched till next year. Is that correct, Mr. City Manager?
What we proposed in the change memo was, since the final determination on the structure of whatever's going to happen with the Bayfront Park, whether it end up in as a city department, an enterprise fund, conservancy, whatever, that we could move the allocation of that $9 million to a mid-year budget decision versus incorporating it into the budget now. That was what we proposed as a.
Right, but it's not going to be transferred. Whatever's done, it's not going to be transferred till next year, if and when we decide to change the structure.
Well, the commission would have to decide, because it would come through a mid-year budget.
Okay, but right now, that's what we have on.
That's incorporated into the memo.
Right, so in other words, no funds will be taken out at this moment. No funds will be transferred. No funds will be dispersed of the $9 million.
No, nothing happens with the $9 million until it comes for reconsideration in a mid-year.
Just wanted to clear that up. Thank you.
Commissioner Rosado?
I have a few items. I support what Commissioner Corroyo has brought up with regard to supporting our fire rescue crew, and as well as what he has brought up in terms of assisting students. Certainly helping our youth is a good thing. And one of the comments that was made at the first public hearing about spending additional dollars on social services resonated with me. and I didn't know exactly where I would want to support something like that, but I think his proposal makes a lot of sense, so happy to support it. I have a couple of items that I'd like to make adjustments to. I know that all of us have been supportive of adding additional police officers, and the number that we've collectively preliminarily settled upon was 100 additional officers. But I will tell you, in speaking with the department and seeing the fact that we are at historically low crime rates, I am perfectly comfortable scaling that number to a lower number, because I just don't know that 100 is necessarily the number we need to land upon. I definitely want to support an increase in our officer numbers, but I'm happy to, slice that in half and increase 50 per year for the next several years. And I think if our crime rates were high, I would feel differently. But we had a press conference talking about just how safe the city is. I think that's somewhere where we could scale back a little bit. Again, we could look at it in the mid-year and make a decision if we are needing to move in a different direction. As much as I want to support additional officers, I just don't know that we need to go as high as 100.
Well, we definitely need 100 more police officers per each fiscal year. If you look at where we are today in comparison to our population, we should be higher, especially when you have to take into consideration that this city, besides its normal live-in population, has several hundred thousand people that come to our city every day who work in it from somewhere else, or as tourists or visitors. That's a very high population. Downtown, for instance, that we talked so much about today, I remember years ago, you couldn't go past one block without seeing an officer or two in every block in downtown. That's not the case anymore. You could go through any of our neighborhoods, and you do not see the police presence that you once saw. We could get into the many reasons for that, but just because crime all over the country, not just here, is in a downtrend, you do not hold back what you need to do in your police department or your fire department, because that's when it's going to catch you. And then when the trend starts going up, you don't have the manpower that you need, nor the trained manpower that you need. So, I'm the only one up here that comes from a law enforcement background. I understand what we need. Even Marine Patrol. We don't have sufficient Marine Patrol, even though we've increased it, but we don't have enough still. You got all these boats that are going by, entering our Miami River, that you could hear for 2 blocks away. And it's still happening, Chief, by the way. The city needs to have an adequate police force. 100 is not a high number to bring in. It's, in fact, I think a conservative number to bring in. And I would not be in favor of taking out one less police officers. And frankly, the only reason that I've gone along with 100 each year, because this way you have a workable number that you could bring in through the academy, train them, be able to do adequate background checks, and just not hire anybody.
Anything else, Commissioner Rosado?
I'd like to hear from Chief Morales on this.
Pablo.
And again, I can certainly respect that position if crime were trending upward, if crime were even flat, but if crime is trending downward, I think you all are doing a good job. I'm not as compelled to have that higher number added to our rolls.
So good evening, Manny Morales, Chief of Police, 400 Northwest 2nd Avenue. Commissioner, we are absolutely having a fantastic year. We've had for the last couple of months. We're almost 20% down in Part 1 crimes, almost 40-something% down on stolen vehicles, and we're looking great, but we're still having 10 to 12,000 crimes a year for a city of our size, right? So what this would do, the addition of the officers would do, is prepare us for the future, knowing that it takes 13 months till that one officer that gets hired today is able to serve us on the streets. So I'm just forecasting, keeping in mind also, not only the growth of the population, we're the #2 destination in the United States, second only to New York. So the influx of folks that we're getting, the popularity and the vibrancy of Miami just continues to expand. Now, we still have, this year, just to give you an idea, we did 71 hires, right? New recruits coming in, put them in the academy. We lost 35, gives us a net of about 36 a year, right? So as we're getting it, we see an attrition of about 50 a year. So as we're bringing in the 100, right, that we're able to kind of grab and put through the academy, depending on the quality of candidate in the pool, then we're kind of left with a net gain of about 50 to 60, depending on the quality of the classes and the recruits, right?
But Chief, is that a real net gain? Is it, you know, I've asked this question before, where we were making up for what we were losing, right? So, but at the end of the day, is it a real net gain? Because I think we need police officers. You know, I've been advocating since I came in for this, but my question to you is, right now, I don't think we have a real net gain, do we?
The net gain would be...
A net gain that we're replacing our officers that we lost, and we're putting new ones that we didn't have before.
If we're able to put 4 classes, right, 1 every quarter, which is what our academy can handle per square foot, looking at the FDLE restrictions that we have in place, we'll get about 80 individuals through the academy. If our current trajectory on attrition holds steady for 50, we're adding about 30 a year, real cops on the street, right? Unless we make some changes to our academy. I've floated some ideas with our guys about running 2 academies, one in the daytime, one in the nighttime, farming out some work to Miami-Dade Community North. Even though, no disrespect to our former academy, I went to Miami-Dade North campus. Our academy is far superior. We do have some of the highest pass rates on the state exam that any training center has across our state. So I would prefer for us to have it in-house, but...
Back then, I remember that's the academy that we had for everybody.
Correct.
When I went through BLE 5, that was the academy. You went through what class?
BLE 158.
158. Okay.
Back in 94.
Yeah.
So, Chief, you believe that we need the 100?
Yes.
Okay. And anything else?
Not on that specific subject.
You have something else?
I do. I have 2 more items. The first one is, in speaking with the mayor in recent weeks, I mentioned to him that I'd like to see additional dollars for housing assistance. I think it's probably something that we're all asked for. I feel like I'm asked on an almost daily basis. And I asked if he thought of anywhere that we could find some additional dollars within the budget that wouldn't hurt anything else. And he mentioned about the dollars associated with Miami Coin. So apparently there's over $5 million that are available for housing assistance tied specifically to the COVID era. There's approximately $5.25 million sitting there. They had created an application process, but almost nobody applied, or nobody applied perhaps. And so it seems like there's if I understand it correctly, $5.25 million that we could use for housing assistance. And in our district, this is such a common request. There's such a need for this, especially for seniors. I'd like to see us use those dollars and divide them up, perhaps by CDBG eligibility.
Commissioner, that train already left the station. That's what the manager, at least what was said to me, that he intended for that money that could be used for, divided into all our districts. But now that you mention Miami Coin again, I have a major problem. And also, since you mentioned the mayor, it was the mayor that came here and sold this city on Miami Coin, that this is going to be was going to do away with paying property taxes because it was going to bring so much money. We were supposed to get 30% of it. Now, based on the calculations that were given to me, there's another 18 million, maybe more, that we never seen. I don't know why we haven't taken it, why it wasn't given to us. And based on those calculations, there had to be at least $70 million minimum, and who knows how much more, that was sold to investors, institutions, and the Miami coin that was like a meteorite. It went up beautifully and came down just as quick and crashed, where it's worth less today than the Venezuelan bolivar that you need a truck to be able to buy a U.S. dollar with. What happened to all those millions of dollars that we were supposed to get? Not just the $5 million now. What happened to the rest of that money? Because no one's been able to tell me what happened to the money.
Good evening, Commissioner Erica Pascal, Darlene. The only amount that we have received in donation to date is the 5.2. The city coin was a donation agreement, and they were given the ability to donate when they wanted to.
Yeah, but they used our name. Even the website today that they still have, it has the office of the mayor of Miami that they used to sell the Miami coin and give the impression that it was backed by the city of Miami, or at least its mayor, or both. Now, was there anything signed with them that stated that they were going to donate 30%? Because in Florida, even if you don't have it signed, a verbal contract is as good as a signed contract. And they put all over the place, we were getting 30%. So what happened to that 30%? 5.2 million was nowhere near 30%. What happened to the rest of that money?
We did not receive any further donations after the 5.2.
Well, then you know what? We need to do something about it and get to the bottom line. Because when this came before us and we were put up against the wall, because we were told by the mayor that this was going to be the solution to Miami's future, no more property taxes, so much money was going to come in. Yeah, money came in for a few months that somebody made. But there were hundreds, if not thousands, of people that got nailed and lost their money. But those that had the great idea made money. And at that time, I had asked this administration to make sure that these people were vetted before we would enter into any agreement with them. And I've gotten the results today. We did no vetting. None whatsoever. What I did find out is that the guy that was the main one that had the idea that we were speaking to all the time, the company, as was told to us, was a Delaware nonprofit corporation. They were supposed to, according to the resolution that we passed, to have registered as a Florida corporation before we would begin doing anything with them. They never did that. They never registered as a Florida nonprofit corporation or even for-profit corporation. What I do know now is that the Delaware address then went to a Los Angeles address in one of the, let me put it politically correct, less desirable areas of Los Angeles, in a strip mall where you don't expect to find major capital firms that are putting out major offerings like this. And
Is this offline?
Excuse me?
Do we have that offline, the conversation, or?
Well, look, you could look at some of this like I did and stuff, and I want to know what happened to the 30% that we were supposed to get. It's worthless now, but it wasn't then. What happened to it?
Mr. Manager?
We would have to research to determine.
Well, I've been asking just that. The manager knows it. I've sent a lot of requests, and, you know, it's like a twilight zone. It's lost in it. You can't get any answers. You can't get anything. It's shuffled to one group, to the other, and the only thing I know, there were tens of millions of dollars that were invested. We were supposed to get 30%. We only got chump change of a little over $5 million. Some people made a lot of money, and very few made a lot of money, and a lot of people got nailed and lost all their investment. You want to talk about the Miami coin anymore?
I want to know if we have that 5.25 available to us, and if we could agree in the upcoming budget to allocate those to each of the districts per CDBG eligibility ratios.
So yes, the previous resolution allocated $2 million to provide supplemental funding to the city's senior rental assistance program, and then $3.2 million was to be equally allocated between the 5 commissioner districts to allocate appropriate future resolutions for district-specific affordable housing.
That initial $2 million that you mentioned, that is available how?
I would have to
Is it first come, first serve, or could we just agree to divvy it up based on CDBG eligibility?
The what, the initial 5.2?
Yeah, apparently the entire thing is sitting there.
Yes, it is.
No,
still,
but equally by district.
Equally by district, yes.
You could certainly do that. It wasn't part of how the original reso was constructed, but you could. And we could bring back a reso if you'd like, and specifically codify how that money's distributed by district, if you'd like.
Okay, then bring it the next meeting.
Yeah, we can modify that.
I'd like for this city to finally see some money from the Miami coin, worth less than a Bolivar today.
So I'll sponsor that item, Mr. Clerk, for the October 9th
I think
meeting.
the manager understands the direction.
Okay.
Okay.
The final thing that I wanted to discuss with regard to the budget is my predecessor, may he rest in peace, he restarted a tradition that was very important to many of us growing up, which is the Three Kings Parade.
It's in the budget.
Well, it's currently in the budget. We've had internally a number of discussions about this. It is currently in the budget for $200,000, but realistically, when it was done most recently, it was done on a very modified scale. It wasn't that many streets. To take it back to what it was originally, to really restore it to its glory, it would be a larger route, and so it would require more in-kind dollars, et cetera. And so after speaking with a number of folks, what we'd like to do is request that instead of $200,000, that it be increased to $350,000, so that it can be what it was when I was a child.
What I would suggest, Commissioners, so that we keep our budget intact, since I haven't heard you mention any new money that you found, since it's going to go through your district and mine, you could put the other $75,000 from your budget. I'll put the other $75,000 from District 3, and you got the extra $150,000 to the $200,000. And this way, we don't have to be here another hour trying to figure out where we're going to get another $150,000 for.
Deal.
What's more money?
Deal.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Run that deal by me.
No, it's in-house. We don't have to vote on this one.
Oh, okay. Are we
Commissioner
ready?
Gabela, you're fine.
I haven't said anything. I'm fine. As a matter of fact, I promised the late commissioner, may he rest in peace, that I would, carry out the tradition, and you're the commissioner for that area, so I think it's only proper, and I think it's a fine gesture.
Keep in mind that within 2 more budgets at least, if not 1 more. There's going to have to be more money allocated there because you're also going to require a fire truck. Okay? So that's on you for the future to remind a manager. The last that I would like to do in item 10 and what I proposed, that's been seconded, I believe, is that the half mil that we just found in downtown, that also goes to the schooling, the tutoring for our young children, and that half mil can take priority for the kids in Overtown, the Omni District, downtown, and if there's any left over,
No.
which I doubt, then it could go to other districts.
Let me express my reservation there, Commissioner. The issue here is the people most impacted by what's happening there downtown are not being included at all, and these funds should be trapped, and their priorities should be at least recognized before we make any decision like that. Not to say that what you're proposing isn't a good idea, but I think it could be proposed to that same group and see where we end up.
That's fine. I would say propose it. You could do a mid-year revision earlier than right at mid-year. And since you're going to have all these public meetings to see what they want to do with it, once they decide, then we take it from the mid-year revision. But at least put this now so that we can begin this fiscal year with sufficient monies that at least 750 of our kids we could provide tutors for, if not 800. And that's all that I'm asking.
Yeah, but I don't want to allocate this now. That's the only thing.
Well, $2 million, it's not going to get us as far as $500,000. So it's up to the commission if they want to include it here or not. But you can't find a more worthy cost than putting it to help our next generation pass school, get better grades, and be able to be part of the competition in the global workforce.
Okay, so we have BH10 for consideration. There was an amendment proposed for...
It's a resolution that'll be coming back at the first October meeting to divide up the Miami coin 5.25 million. But it's done separately. The money's budgeted. We'll just bring it back how to distribute it.
So if I...
Wait, well... No, I said BH10. BH9 is... I know I have to amend...
BH9 we did already.
But we have to bring it back to amend it. So, Todd...
What happened?
With BH9, I need to... a vote for reconsideration because they left out an amendment. May I have a motion for BH9 to reconsider?
Motion. Okay, what are we reconsidering?
They left out an amendment. They left some term out that we have to include.
Okay, what is that amendment?
I'm going to tell you when I got a vote.
All right, so motion to reconsider.
So I got a motion and a second to reconsider. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes now.
Good evening again. This item, it was the exhibit the memo that was distributed. I'd like to amend that memo to include, there was an item that was part of the mid-year that took the 10 million that divvied up between the 4 districts to be for parks improvement. I need to amend that for it to be any capital needs that the district needs, they can use those dollars, not just for parks improvement.
Hang on, hold on. Where's this 10 million coming from?
The 10 million has already been allocated from the general fund.
That's from Freedom Park.
To where? Allocated to where?
For each district.
Does this have to do with Freedom Park? And the money allotted for Freedom Park?
From Freedom Park.
From Freedom Park?
Initially, it was just for parks, and now they're changing it so that you can use it.
But that wasn't the deal. That wasn't the deal. The deal was that it was 10 mil to keep there. You and I talked about this
No, this is a separate $10
Okay,
million.
but that's what I'm asking.
That's not the 10 million you're referencing. This was that other reso that was passed to take 10 million from the general fund.
Got it.
And
To
allocate it to
distribute.
each district. Yes, that's what she's talking about.
So the 10 mil that's there, right, and this is the other towns?
Yes. Correct.
From the general fund to
Correct.
be distributed between
And what
two
they're
or
doing
four.
is creating more flexibility around how you
So
can
you
use
don't
that
have
money.
to use it for park. You can use it for park, affordable housing.
Yeah, you can use it for.
I have I'm a little bit confused on this. So it's not related to the Freedom Park funding, but you mentioned 4 districts, not 5. So
Yeah, because I got left out. I got left out because supposedly since I got the 10 mil for Freedom Park for what's coming there was a deal struck here. Even though the original deal, I wasn't even here when it was struck, and then somebody somehow decided, well, if he's getting 10 mil, we got to get 10 mil, and then you divide it up right? I mean, that's the way it was. and I got left out.
That's the way the reso was passed, in that the additional $10 million would be divided amongst the districts outside of District 1.
You had gotten left out one time too, but got put back in.
and I'm inviting everybody to the Three Kings Parade.
Well, remember, it's the District 3, District 4.
But everybody's welcome.
So may I have a motion for BH9 as amended?
Move.
So moved.
So the only thing, hang on a minute, please. The only thing we're doing here is we're widening the scope
Yes.
of how the money can be used, right?
Correct.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
Okay, thank you.
May I have
Yes.
a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Yeah.
I
Second.
already had that. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries as amended. Back to BH10.
There's a motion that I made, second by Commissioner
Second.
Gavella.
For VH10, yes.
All in favor?
Chair,
Wait.
if I may, I just want to, because there was a lot of discussion here, so I just want to clarify what the amendments were. So the amendments I have here are that the fire and EMS fees, the revenue will be increased by $3 million, $2 million for a new fire unit for the Miami Freedom Park area, which will include 13 positions, and then $1 million for education of that $3 million. And then
Yeah, for tutoring for children in the urban core of the city.
tutoring for children in the urban core.
Yeah, I think he labeled it "Leave No Child Behind."
Yep.
And then there will be an additional $150,000 allocated for the Three Kings Parade, with $75,000 coming from.
No 150 allocated. District 4 is going to put 75 from his budget. I'm going to put 75 from my budget.
Yeah, so-
Otherwise,
Okay.
So that doesn't need to
we
go
have a
in the-
deficit in the
That
budget.
doesn't need to go into.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't need it. We said that
that's not-
before.
Okay, so
You're
then-
complicating it.
Okay, so then there's only that one amendment then of the fire EMS fees.
The amendment is 2 million out of the 3 that we found for Freedom Park for fire rescue unit. That's going to have 13 new firefighters that have to be hired. And 1 million for No Child Left Behind tutoring.
And the allocation of the $500,000. What do we do with that?
Well,
Confirm
I
that?
think we should put that.
We're
but
not
it's up to
addressing
this
that now?
commission.
We don't have to decide.
Okay,
Right.
so it's just the $3 million. Okay.
City Clerk?
And I have 2 administrative amendments. So on page 2 of the resolution, it'll need to include today's date, and I also need to replace the placeholder Exhibit A with an updated Exhibit A.
Okay, hang on, people. I'm sorry. I'm in La La Land today. So the 500K, we're talking about the 500K of the sign business, right? Is that what we're talking about? That you don't want it?
Yeah, that's not allocated.
That's the one that you still don't want to allocate. Okay, got it. All right.
May I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
As amended.
As amended. Thank you all. This concludes our budget hearing for September 25th, 2025.
I was on